We're going to go ahead and, before we get started, call the meeting to order. There's going to be some things that are taken out of order. So we might have to pause at any given time, so please bear with me. But we're going to go ahead and get the meeting called. Michael, can you take the roll, please?
Ms. Butts?
Here.
Ms. Shakarian?
Here.
Mr. Corrigan?
Here.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Here. And just as FYI, Trustee Fryer will be joining us virtually today. And if I'm not mistaken, Trustee Parker will be here as well.
We're following up on that now.
Trustee Parker?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Our first order of business is approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 15, 2024, and the Joint Finance and Human Resource Committee meeting of February 13, 2024. If there's no omissions or additions, I move for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes. We're gonna start off with the presentation for kindergarten readiness.
We will pause.
We will pause. All right. Hello. Michael, could you
John's
the chair?
sister's here.
I think so. Hello.
Oh,
All right. Starting with the one that just walked in.
oh, welcome, Mr. Harris.
Put him right here next to me. Somebody's got to kick me.
I forgot to take care of you.
Okay, come on, let's break it up.
With this.
Yes. You're my brother.
I looked up one day and she was in the library.
Got it.
Huh? I said, ain't nowhere else for her to go.
I'm right.
We'll move this over here.
Hello, Thomas.
How are you? Diane said to say hello.
Good to go.
Good.
What's going on?
It's all you.
Just started.
We are moving this meeting out of order.
can
I gotta
tell.
scoot over. As we all know, Trustee Harris did resign as of March 1st. So I do appreciate your sister, Rishia, for bringing, thank you so much. Yes, and we would like to recognize you for all the hard work you've done here for us. There's so many people here that want to thank you. And on behalf of the board, I want to present this resolution to you.
What?
Yes.
Can you sell it?
I'm gonna try to. I'm sure I'll get a nice dime, but this is, can I read it, please?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to lay it down because it's a lot. He has done so much in this life. Thank you so much. It says, whereas John A. Hairston Jr. has served faithfully and with distinction on the Board of Library Trustees since his first appointment on July 23rd, 2008, and whereas as an educator for the CMSD Director of External Programs for NASA, John H. Glenn Research Center, and District Director for the 11th District Congressional Office under U.S. Congresswoman Marsha Fudge, Mr. Hairston has contributed significantly and selflessly to the growth and development of the Cleveland Public Library as a responsive community organization. And whereas in 2011, under Mr. Hairston's dedicated leadership, the Inclusion and Community Engagement Committee of the library was formed and was responsible for creating and implementing, among other measures, detailed diversity and inclusion policies for staff, as well as the library's first supplier and vendor diversity policy. And whereas the adoption of supplier and vendor diversity policy led the library to integrate supplier diversity goals into its 10-year facility master plan, FMP, with Mr. Harrison serving as an ardent champion of the library's role to support and help build capacity for minority contractors. And whereas during Mr. Harrison's time on the board, the library has achieved significant positive outcomes for the residents of Cleveland through initiatives including safe spaces for children and young adults, literacy and tutoring services, 3D printing, library cards for all students in the CMSD district, daily food assistance, Cleveland Housing Court and legal aid services, and the circulation of tablets and Wi-Fi hotspots. And whereas in addition to his library board service, Mr. Harrison has devoted countless volunteer hours to strengthening the civic bonds among his fellow citizens by serving on the Cleveland School Board as co-chair of the City of Cleveland's Empowerment Zone Initiative, as chairman of the Board of Directors for Glenville Development Corporation, as president of the Cuyahoga County Board of Election, and as chairman of the Amani Temple Ministries Deacon Board. And whereas in his current role as a board member of the Metro Health System, Mr. Harrison helped oversee the reimagined master plan of Metro Health's campus transformation, including the opening of Metro's new acute care hospital, the Glick Center, the completion of a $100 million fundraising campaign. And whereas the Board of Trustees wishes to acknowledge Mr. Harrison's years of dedicated service, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Library Trustees, for itself and on behalf of the library staff and the community, commends Mr. Harrison for his exemplary public service and extends appreciation and sincere best wishes to its esteemed and valued colleague for continued success in all his endeavors.
Big job. Good to see everybody.
Well,
Mr.
before you,
Hall, had a good time with you.
Trustee Harrison, before we give you your time to speak, I brought a surprise for you.
Oh, Lord.
Go on up.
Look who's here.
He loves his great friend.
Thank you. Felton and board members, I would be remiss if I did not come over here to recognize a longtime old friend. And I say longtime old friend, we go back a long way. In fact, we used to walk our dogs together in the park. And those conversations were very interesting along the lakefront. So it goes without saying, this man has meant a great deal to me personally, has meant a great deal to my community. And I'm honored to be here on behalf of my colleagues in City Council to present an official proclamation. And whereas members of Cleveland City Council are incredibly proud and pleased to congratulate John M. Harrison on his retirement from Cleveland Public Library Board of Trustees. And whereas John has demonstrated unwavering commitment and exceptional service during his tenure on the Board of Library Trustees since his initial appointment on July 23rd, 2008. And whereas under John's dedicated leadership, the Inclusion and Community Engagement, ICE Committee of the Library was established in 2011, playing a pivotal role in formulating and implementing comprehensive diversity and inclusion policies for both staff and the library's procurement policies and practices, including pioneering supplier, vendor, and diversity policy programs. Whereas the integration of supplier diversity objectives into the library's 10-year facilities master plan, with John as a fervent advocate, underscores the library's commitment to fostering opportunities for minority contractors and enticing equity in the operations. And whereas throughout John's tenure on the board, the Cleveland Public Library has achieved significant positive outcomes for the city's residents through a myriad of initiatives, including but not limited to providing safe spaces for children and young adults, offering literacy and tutoring services, implementing 3D printing facilities, ensuring library cards access for all students in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, facilitating daily food assistance programs, offering Cleveland Housing Court and legal aid services, and circulating tablets and Wi-Fi hotspots. Whereas, in addition to his exemplary service on the library board, John has dedicated countless volunteer hours to strengthening civic cohesion within the community. He served on the Cleveland School Board, co-chairing the City of Cleveland's Empowerment Zone initiatives, chairing the Board of Directors for the Glenville Development Corporation, providing as president of the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections, and leading as chairman of the Amani Temple Ministries Deacon Board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this special occasion of John M. Harrison's retirement from the Cleveland Public Library Board of Trustees, we, the members of Cleveland City Council and the people of Cleveland, extend our heartiest congratulations and most profound appreciation for his unwavering commitment to his community and family. John's servanthood, dedication, and generosity serve as an inspiration to all. Let's be it further resolved that the clerk of City Council, being is hereby requested to transmit a copy of this resolution of recognition to Council Member Mike Polensek for proper presentation. Has all the proper signatures. I had to twist their arm to sign this, okay? Again, to a dear friend, dedicated member of our community. And what can I say, my friend? I'm going to miss you from this board, your representation of what you've done for this board, for the entire library system. But I know you're not through yet. Good Lord is watching over you. I know you're going to get better. You're going to get much better. And we're going to be walking those dogs again. Okay. It's cold out there right now because I had Cujo out there this morning, but I'm telling you, we're going to be doing our thing again, brother. So again, thank you all for the opportunity.
Can we get a picture?
Sure you can.
Stay. Oh,
Very good.
Take a picture.
Three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, a little more. This way. 1, 2, 3.
That'll be $50.
Madam Chairman, I might move the board's resolution so we formally adopt it as part of the record.
Oh, wait.
Well, we're taking a pause. Do you want to get a group photo with everyone?
In the
We'll take
second,
one of
Second,
Ms. Butts,
Yes.
Ms. Shakari.
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan.
yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
I will tell you that they told me I was not gonna walk. They forgot who I am. Where's my sister? Those of you that don't know my sister, that's my sister.
What is your sister's name?
Glenda.
Glenda. Thank you, Glenda.
Thanks,
All
Richard.
It's like my mama being in the house. All right, I just look at it. She's gonna tell you what to do. And everything she tells you is basically right. Okay. Thank you for everything. Appreciate it. At one time, I had gone up, 188 pounds?
It was not a good,
No,
it wasn't, it was.
no, they counted me out. Except for one thing, I can't count. So, don't worry about me. Bilson Thomas, if you had seen 91-year-old celebrating NASA at the home where I am, it'll blow your mind. folks celebrated NASA like they never knew how to do before. Well, I've had more than an opportunity, but I still got one. That's what definitely together. I see Sharice back there. Let me tell you something. She'll take all your money. But I just want to thank you very much for being part of the library. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. And still a lot to do. I've already written it down. What you don't want to do is see what I've written. Because everybody got a job without pay. Same amount that you got in the first place. Okay? But thank you very much. Where is Michael? Michael? Mr. Michael, there's something wrong with him. He has a tendency to get free stuff. Bishop, you need to be there on time. Bishop, you need to do this. Bishop, you need to do that. And I do what he tells me to do because he's usually right. Enjoy your life. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. What is it? Next week, I'm celebrating the day with some 91-year-olds. Okay. They're talking to the filter, trying to figure out how to get some, what do you call it, ice cream for elderly people, because they never had a chance to do it before. And so when they see me walking in the hallway, everybody claps their hands. Okay? So we having a good time, and God has blessed me so very much. Thank you very much, Miss Alice Butts. Appreciate you very much. I know you got sick for a while, but I'll see you back on your feet. So all of you got so much stuff, so just get busy and don't forget your diversity. Make it work for you. Because right now, that's all you got is each other. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And you, Michael, we want you in the picture too.
Yes.
You're very special to me. And you, Glenda, come on over.
Glenda?
We're all gonna take a set of pictures here.
They're large, right. How are we gonna get these? Should we display it or should we hold it for you?
Yeah, I think, that- yeah,
In fact, you said you're the
That's all right.
person,
You
you
can
sit next to
do
me,
the
so there's two seats.
yeah.
And I will be around you, yeah.
Go ahead, Trustee.
Come on, Trustee, here, so we'll sit down. Here, you sit here. Here, sit here. Trustee, here, sit. You can sit.
We're gonna, because we'll get more people in the picture if you sit.
Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
He said anytime you can stand, you're happy. So
Oh,
you
sit down.
know,
You said, Glenda said sit down.
You have to sit down. Sit down. You have to do what I tell you to do. Come on now. We gotta go. You know, we got lots of stops like so.
You know, here, you hold the other one up.
Alice,
You hold
grab the
this
other
one.
chair then.
You hold this one. Or Alice to hold it for you. For trustee. Okay, like that.
I've been trying to be in charge all this time. How you doing?
Look ahead. Look at the cameraman, he's trying to take.
Count of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. When I say one more, we know it's gonna be two, right?
Yeah.
Take a step back. Count of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. Good. And 2.
Oh, yeah. Really got it.
Oh, I thought you
Oh,
were,
yeah,
I'm
we have
sorry.
to have councilman go.
Yes.
Hello, Michael.
How are you? He wants to look at the women, that's the
Count of three.
Like it.
Eyes here.
Like you too.
There you go.
1, 2, 3. One more. Good. This way. 1, 2. Step on you. Good. Great. All right, eyes here.
Perfect. Okay.
I have
Alice.
another daughter here.
Come on.
I
All
I adopted her.
right.
This is Angela.
Aw.
Angela is a judge.
Yes.
When they said it couldn't be done, we got
There
it
is a
done.
little bit.
Tip it up. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more. Good.
Thank you.
That was so
Thank
good.
you.
I can't even get pictures of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll get those to you. We'll send those to you.
So good.
So,
Follow what you're doing.
Shanice,
If he does what his sister tells him. I've
Put
been
them
waiting
together, envelope.
77
I think,
years.
or just put them both in one.
You tell him what to do. Sometimes it does. But today was.
yeah, we have a number of things that we need to take with you, so we're gonna have some folks
Yes, will help.
get you
That's gonna be
situated.
fun to carry that big old thing around.
Okay,
Oh.
here you go.
I was at the
How would-
Stokes breakfast this morning, and
Huh?
several people said they were gonna see you tomorrow, and I was telling them, give him mine back.
Oh, where's his coat at?
And now I get to see you in person. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Michael?
sister.
Yeah, it's,
I have not gotten to meet you.
Oh.
hello, Trustee Scarian.
It's so good to see you. Melanie is so good.
Let's
She's,
go, okay.
she's coming to so many events.
We would have had a good time. Put us in jail.
His sister, tell me.
We're trying to raise money for a statue for Carl in the cemetery. That's what this is about. So Cordell was presenting 10,000 check and all these other people. Most of them were in high school, but we had that 67.
Michael, where's the skirting? Okay, okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Tell John I got something for him.
Okay.
He knows his work.
Well, he's got something for you as well.
Okay.
They got your stuff. Come on. Oh, whatever. Yeah, it's okay.
It's my sister.
Oh, really? Okay, we got your coat back here. Come on, let's go. We got it.
That's it. Councilman?
Yes.
Help. Help.
All righty.
Wouldn't be the first time.
anybody telling me what to do.
Here's your other arm for your jacket.
All right, now, that's okay, right?
Hello there. Oh, I think I missed the whole, sorry. Put this, get this one. Right there. Perfect.
What court are you in?
Cleveland Municipal Court, courtroom 13A.
Yep.
And I don't want to see you.
Oh, not there. How about not there?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Judge, appreciate you being here. We really do.
No.
Glad that I was out there in time. I was all over this place.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustee.
You've already got it.
You want to say what you got?
You've already got
I'm
it.
sure we got it.
Look,
Look,
she said the future.
I have it.
Got it right.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, come on. I got your phone and stuff in my hand.
I think I first met revenue when I was running.
Thank you, Steph.
That's right.
And the dog walking story was like,
Mhm. Thank you so much for allowing us to take out this time. I think he was very special to all of us that are here and that we understand the importance of all the work that he has done for us and for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did we,
Presentation.
okay, we took the roll. Thank you so much, Michael. We're now gonna do the presentation for kindergarten readiness. Jacqueline,
all right.
yes, thank you so much.
I'm gonna reference it.
Oh, fine. Thank you. All right, hi everyone. Hi, how are you? Okay, so early literacy at CPL, we have been doing some great work. I know we're only in March, but so much has happened. And so I look forward to telling you all the things that's been going on and what's to come. So next slide, please. All right, so our goal is by 2025 to increase 0 to 5 early literacy programs offered by 36% attendance, by 50%, offered by 36% and attendance by 50%, and increase the number of children 0 to 5 who have library cards by 10%. You can go to the next slide. So the way that when I came into this role, I wanted to make sure that we looked at early literacy from a transformational standpoint, right? And I think that's the work that we've been doing anyway, even before I came. And so, right, when we look at family engagement, right, that's a big part of early literacy. We can't do this work without building the capacity of our families, because that's the goal in early literacy. So they have the tools that they need at home to increase literacy and in child development and everything else. And so the approach that we had was to build relationships with families, because we think that's key. That's the first thing we need to do. When our families walk into our branches, we need to make sure that we build relationships with them. We learn from families and community members. And when I say learn from them, right, it's this sense of they're their child's first and most important teacher. So they're the ones who can tell us the things that we can do to ensure that our programs meet their needs. We want to model best literacy practices for our families, and we want to ensure that we connect families to resources in their community. And so that's our transformational approach, so that it's not just you come, we give you, and you leave, but you come and you help us help you, so we can partner in this work to ensure that our young people get to where they need to be. So we have 3 programs that are centered around early literacy for 0 to 5. We have Family Space, Young Scholars Academy, and 0 to 3 Read to Me. And so what's going on at Family Space? Family Space has been going so great. I know we talked about this in our last board meeting when United Way gave us the funds to continue the work. And so we have been doing well over at the Carnegie West branch and the Huff branch. And so you can see that from last year, Q1, Q2, and Q3, we have been moving forward, right? As you can see, the number of scholars that are coming to our locations to participate in family space have been going up, and the number of families and adults that have been showing up to our family space has been increasing. And so we're super excited about the number of visits. As you can see, you know, if you look at that 6+, right? These are individuals who come 6 or more times. That continues to raise, you know, as we go throughout the year. And I think that shows that our families are really excited about what's happening. Another thing that happens in family space is that we have a family advisory committee, and that committee advises us on what we should do to ensure family space meets the needs of the community. And these are members of the community. These are families who attend family space, who are committed to being on this advisory committee. And we've been learning a lot from them. 0 to 3 read to me. I'm super excited about 0 to 3 read to me. And it's interesting because 4 managers who are sitting in here all have 0 to 3 read to me at their sites. We started off with 2 sites doing 0 to 3 read to me, and now we are at 10. And with these 10 sites, in connection with the Brewing Foundation, we have been able to reimagine their spaces. So some of them didn't have, you know, storytime rugs. Some of them didn't have the manipulatives that families needed to really make a 0 to 3 space fit the needs of child development. And so we were able to take those funds and reimagine all 10 of those spaces to ensure that they had the tools that they needed so their families could participate, you know, in a way that was really wrapped around 0 to 3. The picture that you see here, we had a professional development for 9 of those sites. They came out to the MLK branch, and we partnered with Stark Public Library to train them on Every Child Ready to Read and the science of literacy, so they can learn, what does language development look like when you have story time? What does child development look like when you have story time? And as you can see, they're sitting in a circle. These are all youth services staff, and we're modeling, what does, you know, singing look like? A lot of them was like, I don't want to sing, I don't feel comfortable. But singing is a big part of that language development and modeling for families, because the goal is that when they come into these 0 to 3 sites, we're modeling the families what it is that they could be doing at home to continue the work so scholars can continue to grow. And that's that transformational part that I was talking about earlier. Also in your bag, that bag that I just gave you, we were able, with the Brewing Foundation, to get these bags that go out to all of our branches. We sent 10 of them out, and they were able to, we packed them with books and resources. And so when librarians or our youth staff or our PSGs or our PSAs, when they see families walk into their library who's at 0 to 3 range, they going to have a resource to give to them, right? That's how we start the conversation of building relationships to ensure that we are meeting the needs of our community. And so it's just a way to kind of break that barrier and to give them a resource to take home. So that went out to all of the branches last week, and now they're going to have like a kind of opening to be able to start that conversation with those families. Next we have, and then this is Harvard Lee, actually. Kristen is here. This is a picture of what we were able to purchase for their space. As you can see, it's imaginary play, right? They have things that their young people can go into and play and be a part of. And I actually met a young woman who's a mom in the Harvard Lee area, and I told her about the 0 to 3, and she was like, wait a minute, they got play dates like what you see in the movies? And I was like, yes, we got that, right? You could come and have a play date with other families and learn from other families and grow and be able to have your child play, but you play with them so that you can continue it at home. So this is just an example of what's going on at Harvard Lee. Yeah. Next, I think this is, yeah. So Young Scholars Academy. Young Scholars Academy is truly that kindergarten readiness club, right? This is where we're doing that dual capacity, right? Where we're building the capacity of not only our young people, but their parents. So when they come, or their family members, when they come into Young Scholars Academy, they are working with a teacher from CMSB, She's a model lead teacher. Her name is Kelly McCorvey, and she is working one-on-one with families, right? The children are not in the room with them. This is where Allison Kennedy and Patricia Fulmer is taking them out to work with them on some things, but families are able to engage directly with the teacher so they can learn skills and tools or sharpen their skills and tools to be able to continue these skills at home. So as you can see, these are the first 2 weeks of what's going to come up in the spring. And you can see we're working on social emotional awareness. You can see that everything is connected to the Ohio State standards, right? And we have our lesson plans. We have what exactly parents will take home with them. And then what giveaways do we give not only the family, but the child as well. So I'm super excited about these 3 programs, and they're happening. One is at Lorraine, Woodland, Collinwood, and the Union campus. And we actually have Lorraine and Lorraine and Union's manager here who participate in Young Scholars Academy. All right. And so one thing that we've been doing is spreading the word about early literacy at CPL. A lot of our educators didn't know what we had going on. And so I was able, with the help of Anisha Jeffries, to present to every preschool teacher in the CMSD school district. We presented 3 times back to back, and we talked about our topic was early literacy in the community. And we were able to share with them everything that we have going on, not just in this early literacy space, but also in our youth services space, right? What resources and tools do we have for them so they can tap in and be able to share with their families? And so that was a success, and we'll continue to work with them. We also are going to present to all of the kindergarten teachers before the year is out as well. So I'm super excited about what we're doing. I think that we are very, very transformation in our thinking and our process, that we know that we are not doing this alone, but in partnership with families to ensure that they have everything that they need to be successful with their children.
You know, having worked with early childhood and moms for so many years in my own experience, so many moms don't realize the importance of just talking to your child all the time and naming the apples and the oranges and everything in the world of the child.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're making happen so much more. You're making parents aware of just how easy it is to be a great parent, because they're going to be that child's teacher forever, their whole life.
Definitely.
They're wonderful. I love your enthusiasm.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think that's all I have. I know that we're getting ready for summer, and so I'm super excited about everything that we're doing as we prepare for summer. I had a meeting with CMSD and the city of Cleveland, and they were very, very pleased with everything that we're offering, like this comprehensive plan that we're offering this summer. We are one of the only providers that's really going to have like that comprehensive plan that's going to match what is needed, right, with CMSD for our scholars who may not be able to participate in their program due to cuts and things like that. And so I'm just super excited. I can't wait to share with you all of the great things that's happening. I encourage you to come out this summer and see the great things that's happening in each and every branch. We had our youth services meeting yesterday in person for the very first time in 4 years, where we were able to pour into our youth services staff and give them the tools, because they have a big expectation this summer. But I think they're definitely ready to meet that expectation. So I encourage you all to come out and share. Yes.
I just think it's so great you had the exposure to the pre-K
Yeah.
teachers.
Mhm.
I think the pediatricians in Northeast Ohio are another key group to educate.
Yes.
And, before they would have, grand rounds meetings in person, it would be hard to get on an agenda. But now I know Metro, UH, and the Cleveland Clinic all do virtual Zoom grand rounds for their peds teams. And they would be so into hearing about this because of their interest in early literacy.
And we want them to come out and present at some of the thing about 0 to 3 is that it's not just this story time that we're having, but we're also going to have programs. So each and every one of those branches have to come up with programs throughout the year for their families. And this is where we want to invite them into the space to present and to work with families to share what should children be eating, right? What should you be feeding feeding them? What is matched with this child development so they can continue to grow? And so we're going to continue to have these people come out, but not only just in those spaces, but in our youth services space. And that's why getting back in person was important, so that we can get them to come and present and to share, so that they can go back and then be the ones that spread the word.
That's so cool.
That's a great idea, though, to
Yes.
reach
I have
out to hospitals too.
So I have two-sided question. I know we're doing 10 libraries. Are we looking to expand?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Well, I'm so proud. Carrie can tell you, we've been working hard to spend that brony money, and we almost there. And so once we finish with that, our goal is to then go back to Brony and say, hey, look what we did, right? Because we came up with our own kind of plan of what we wanted to do. And we didn't expect this, but all of the branch managers, that's why I'm so happy that they're here, is that they said, I didn't volunteer anyone, right? They had to sign up. And they said, I want to be a part of this.
Nice.
And so now that we have this, and they can now share with their colleagues what's happening and how they're supporting their community. And hopefully we have more branches who we can revitalize their space, and we can be able to bring programs to their families as well.
So my last question is, in this day and age that we are in,
Yes.
what are we doing or looking for to do it to help with bilingual children?
Yeah, so actually, an email went out, and we have bilingual books, like Spanish
I know,
books.
I love
Yeah,
them.
we sent an email out to make sure that those libraries who needed it. I think that we need to maybe come together and think about, how do we ensure that we have the capacity within our house, right? When I think about
Yeah.
CPL, to make sure that we can touch everybody, right? Because neighborhoods don't look the same anymore, right? We have a lot of people coming in, right? And so I always think about when I worked at CMSD, we always had, no matter what parent meeting we had, we always had and when I worked for the New York City Department of Education, we always had a translator or interpreter there who could have the headphones to make sure that they could share the same information that our families were hearing, that they had that same information. And so I think that we are at a place now where we can start building upon that to make sure we have the tools in-house to be able to push out into the community, to make sure that nobody feels left out and that they feel that they are part of this work as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's wonderful.
It is. So we will actually, in my director's report, Stephanie is taking Trustee Harrison now, but she's going to kind of give a little update on what she's been able to do as far as some of the things we're doing around languages with library cards and a variety of things.
We
So.
getting there. We are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, and Erica is
Erica.
Marks is a part of this.
I just want to add very quickly, Brian, you can go to the next slide. I just want to update you all on the outreach initiative. So we're partnering with youth and family engagement. So we're revitalizing our On the Road to Reading, Play, Learn, and Grow initiative. So we have a new mobile van. We did some research. This is from other libraries. Isabel Rue, our outreach manager, has been leading this initiative. She has been phenomenal in working with your team. Thank you so much, because it's a long process. But she did some research. You can go to the next slide, Brian. So what is next? We have the van purchased. We are hiring an early literacy outreach associate, and that's through the grant that funded this initiative. So we're working with marketing to wrap the van. We're in the process of purchasing books and supplies, and we are going to create a schedule for the summer and the school year, work with CMSD, all of our branch libraries, and then we're going to launch. And of course, everybody knows we like to do big things. So we do plan on having like a launch party, if you will, once we get this van. So this will help the library be able to meet patrons and families where they are, including doctor offices, wig offices, laundromats, all the festivals, places and events of that nature. So that's it. I just ran through that very quickly. Thank you.
Alice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are they calling it a bookmobile, or is that like passe now? Bookmobiles are not a thing anymore.
Well, some
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's more than that.
Yeah. As of now, we're keeping our initial title, which was On the Road to Reading.
Cool. Very cool.
Thank you.
It's on the road. Can't go on.
Thank you so much. Our next order of business is communications. We had an email from,
I don't believe we approved the minutes.
Oh, did we approve the minutes?
Yes, we have.
Yes,
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
We did.
Where have I been? Maybe I was.
We did that
Mark
before,
We voted before.
trustee Harrison.
Oh, okay.
And I think this was a
Okay, I
community,
was out.
this was from last month?
Yeah. So this is from Zandra Smith, and she just said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Felton. Happy New Year to you, sir. I would like to take a minute to thank you for yet another exciting Chinese class. In conjunction with the existing Chinese class, this class complements the previous Chinese classes. It has given me a new and different outlook on the history of China. I enjoyed listening to many different topics as well as the questions and answers of my classmates. I'm grateful for the staff gathering of material and sharing the material in such an interesting manner. You could see the love for their country. The second session with its hands-on session was well received. Hands-on demonstration regarding the history of teas was fun and tasty. The whole class was well received. I appreciate the time, handouts, and demonstrations on all subjects. Your staff is exemplary in their quest to teach others, as well as assist in gathering material, video games, and such. I can only say, job well done. Thank you from Zandra Smith. Speaking to our folks in the International Languages Department and the work they do classes every week, every Saturday, to teach Chinese to groups of community members, and it's always very well received. So just wanted to mention that because it's a great kudos for the department and what they do here.
That is so nice too, though, Director, speaking with Jacqueline and Erica were mentioning too. That's another language that we could work out in those libraries where we could try to include them for the young children
Yeah.
of that community.
Yeah. So many of the classes are for younger kids, but it also a lot of older adults and
Yeah.
adults like joining in on them and
Sure.
learning. It's intergenerational.
I think so. And thank you, Director. So part of the president's report, one of the things I've been trying to work on, I don't know if most of you know that the board members here are selected by the CMSD board members, and then it is shared with the mayor, who then chooses our appointment or not. So I've been trying for the past year or so, trying to connect more with the board members of CMSD so that they could see our vision and our thoughts and stuff. There was a mixer, which we had here with CMSD board members and library board members, which was had in November. I unfortunately wasn't able to make it. I had a family emergency. So, but I did, with the help of Stephanie and Michael, I went to lunch with the board president of CMSD just to share her what our thoughts, what we are doing. I provided her some of our information and what we are trying to do at our board and how we could work a little bit more closely with their board. As you all know, we do have a opening here at our board. There'll be a new board member that'll be appointed within 4 to 6 weeks. It's usually 45 days. So we're getting very close in time. So it's something that we share or what we hope somebody could bring to this board. So I just thought, I had lunch with Sarah. She's so intelligent. She had so much good information. And I thought it went well for me to be able to share with her who we are in my eyes and what we are doing. So, and that's something that I think we need to keep growing. I don't think it was ever done before. Last year I had lunch with Ann, who was also their prior board president. So I just think it's good for us to try to keep that communication going between the two boards so that we could work a little bit more closely together for the betterment of the city of Cleveland. So just thought I'd let you know it went well. So, thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Director?
So first, I'd like Stephanie to kind of give an overview because it's been a question of the board of what we can do to make sure that our community has more access to library cards, especially those who are coming to this country for the first time and may not have IDs or other things. So there's a variety of things that we're working on.
So this project actually came with Trustee Shakarian, and so there's sort of 4 parts to it. The first part is that we did audit all of our library card applications and Wi-Fi hotspot applications and have added some additional languages. So those forms will be available in Arabic, in French, in Spanish, in Chinese, Ukrainian, Russian, and Pashto, which were the languages identified by our branches as the ones they're seeing most often. So this will help our new refugees and immigrant families able to apply for library cards and have access to resources. That's the first part. The second part is as we work to redesign our website, we have building in the functionality to allow the website to change to different languages. And actually now in our current website, we have added a little bug where you can do that now. And then that will be enhanced with the website redesign project. And then the third part of this that I'm working with our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is to offer on-demand translation services. So that is sort of underway, and we're still working through some of the logistics and costs around that. But that will allow folks who don't speak any English but come to the library for resources, they'll be able to work with a translator and the library staff to ensure that we can help them more effectively. And then the last part, which is in its very early stages, is working to remove some of the barriers around IDs that are needed for library cards. Creating sort of a welcome card for the library that would give access to our collection and our resources to those that may not yet have an ID, folks that are coming in from areas of conflict, those that are returning from incarceration, and those that might be unhoused. And that is also a project that I'm working with several library staff on and the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. So more to come, but we've made some really good progress, and I'm very excited.
So exciting.
Thank you.
This is so exciting. I'm so proud of our library for
I am too.
on all of these fronts. Thank you very much, Director. I brought this up as a question, like at my first or second board meeting, and just in a short amount of time, the amount of progress that you all have made, it's so impressive. And it's not just wonderful for our patrons, but for our staff who are interfacing with folks who speak different languages, and to know that on the horizon is this support for them. I'm just thrilled. So thank you for the wonderful report.
Well,
Can I throw my 3 cents in that I'm going to say about library cards? I am still, and I'm going to be a big advocate for this, like you are, Melanie. I think we need to make sure that we go with early childhood development as well into the Catholic schools and private schools. Those kids, there's tons of Catholic schools in the city of Cleveland, and a lot of those kids live in Cleveland. And we are missing out if their parents aren't the ones, or their aunts, because I had to take my nieces who go to Catholic schools. Well, they're my great nieces. We need to also reach out to the Catholic elementary schools to make sure that they have library cards too. That's been my biggest fight.
We've made that very clear to everybody, and I think it's a Herculean effort to get on board with CMSD, which is what Jacqueline has been doing, and then she can build from that foundation up, and I think that's what great. And I think also there is a key in what we're trying to do as far as with the languages to make sure that we're being able to better spread our collection, which we have great collections in different languages, but make sure they're available and everybody who is looking for them knows that they can get them from whichever library they go into. So, but kudos to Stephanie she has been pulling all of these folks together to make this happen. So she's been doing all that work. I will just add 2 more things to my director's report. One of my favorite places always to go every day is just because it's great seeing all these different people coming in to the archives and the exhibit there. And Tiffany has worked very hard to get the exhibit expanded and it will be here through July 1st, right? Through July 31st. So we're going to have it for an extended amount of time, and especially during the spring and summer when folks are going to be out and coming in. I think that will be great. And we are working to bring the artist back to the city so she can talk. Every time I go in there, somebody's like, is the artist coming back? Can we get her? Can we talk to her? Because they have so many questions and she'll be in it. But I think we are going to have a boatload of folks who will come to that. And then finally, just to let you know that the Public Library Association conference will be in Columbus from April 2nd through the 5th. myself and a number of staff members will be going to Columbus to join in on that conference. It's pretty much a once in a lifetime thing. I've never in my time seen another conference in Ohio. So to have the Public Library Association conference in Columbus will be a great opportunity for our staff to be able to go down there and participate in the learning.
When is that again?
That's
April 2nd through the 5th.
through the fifth.
An easy travel for them.
Yeah. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Director. At this time, because there was no joint Finance and Human Resource Committee meeting on Tuesday, March 19, 2024, I move to temporarily suspend the regulations of the Board of Trustees in Article 9 and 10, requiring referral of resolution to committees to consider the following resolutions.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes. So now we're going to move into the Finance Committee. Trustee Corrigan, please.
Yes, Exhibit 1 is a resolution to accept gifts for the month of February, whereas the board receives gifts of money, library service materials, technology resources, and miscellaneous non-monetary gifts from generous citizens from time to time, whereas attached to this resolution is the gift report itemizing the gifts received by the library for the month of February 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the gifts described in the gift report for February 2024 be accepted upon the conditions connected with said gifts in accordance with Section 3375.40K of the Ohio Revised Code. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And just so for the record, the 600,000 received this month was from the,
Yeah, that's our second payment for our second milestone from the Mandel grant for commencement of construction on the Glenville
okay,
branch.
that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure we put it in the record. Exhibit 2 is a resolution to ratify the agreement with Rycon Construction and establish budget for the staff breakout room project. Whereas on February 15th, the board authorized the executive director to enter into an agreement with the bidder whose bid the library determined to be the lowest responsible bid, subject to the approval of the Director of Legal Services for the construction of a new staff break room in the main library building for a total cost not to exceed $1,348,291.20, with the expenditure being charged to the Building Repair Fund 401 using project code 19901. And whereas the library received 5 bids for the staff break room project and reviewed and evaluated the bids in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 337541, whereas the library determined the Rycon Construction Incorporated submitted the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $878,750 for the staff breakout room project. Whereas on March 2nd, 2024, the library and Rycon had entered into an agreement for the construction of the new staff breakout room in an amount not to exceed that $878,750. Now therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby ratifies the agreement entered into by the library on March 2nd with Rycon Construction, which this board determines is the lowest responsible bidder, in an amount not to exceed $878,750, with the construction to commence March 2024, and be it further resolved that the executive director, CEO, or his designee is authorized to establish a project contingency fund for the staff breakout room project in the amount of $87,870, representing 10% of the contract amount, to make expenditures, including those in excess of $75,000, to pay the costs resulting from changes and additions to the project, which may be made in the future by the library. The library shall report monthly to the board on expenditures from the staff breakout room project contingency fund. Be it further resolved that the board approves the total project budget for the staff breakout room project as demonstrated in set forth in Exhibit A to this resolution, which expenditure shall be charged to the Building Repair Fund 401 using project code 19901, and authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to move forward in taking the steps necessary to complete the staff breakout room project and to execute such instruments or documents as may be necessary or appropriate to effectuate the terms of this resolution, including those in excess of $75,000 and which are payable from the project budget established herein. And Exhibit 2 Exhibit A to Exhibit 2 breaks out the architect fees and owner's contingency and contract amount. So moved.
Second.
John, you want to talk to us about this?
Sure. Well, it's a mouthful. Thanks, Trustee Corrigan. Yeah, so board, as indicated in the resolution approved last month, up to the amount of the library's estimate for the work plus the 20% cap that Ohio Revised Code allows us to do. The actual bid results were substantially lower, so I'm pleased to report that we're bringing the whole project, construction costs plus library's contingency plus the architect's fees, which were previously approved, for below what was authorized last month. And then, we heard a lot about the supplier diversity policy during the honorifics to Trustee Harrison. So I thought I would mention that this specific project was designed by Ubiquitous Design, that is a local, small, minority-owned business. They were the junior partner on the central distribution facility design, and then we were able to work with them directly on this project. So I think it's a great example of helping a small local, in this case, Black-owned business grow and work with the library.
To a bigger project than
To a
what they
bigger
did
project.
before. That's great.
Are you still anticipating it's gonna start in the next
Oh,
week
yeah.
or, okay?
We're cleaning out IT storage now,
Wow,
and
great.
demolition will start on Monday.
And then what's the timeline for it to finish?
4 months plus a month. The furniture was embedded within the construction contract, but we don't know exactly what the lead times on the furniture selections because they're not made yet. So it's 4-month construction, could be 150 days with the furniture. So
That's great.
looking for a late summer opening.
Good.
Nice.
And the vote? Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Exhibit 3 is a resolution to purchase graphics printer and enter into a service agreement. Whereas on May 16, 2019, the board authorized the library to enter into an agreement with Applied Laser Technologies for purchase or lease of multifunction devices, desktop printers, and production equipment. And the library and ALT entered into an agreement effective June 20, 2019. Whereas the production printer that the library purchased from ALT in 2019 is past its useful life and no longer serviceable. Whereas the graphics department is currently running a production printer to temporarily replace the production printer purchased from ALT. And the chief strategy officer recommends that the library purchase a replacement production printer and backup printer, which will allow the graphics department to function again at full capacity. Whereas the graphics department sought quotes from vendors for the purchase or lease of a new production printer and a backup printer in 2 different configurations, options 1 and 2, for a corresponding maintenance agreement. The graphics department received quotes from 3 vendors as set forth in Exhibit A to this resolution. Whereas the chief strategy officer recommends that the library contract with Canon for the purchase of the printers include an option 1 and for the corresponding maintenance agreement for an initial term of 3 years with the option to renew at the same rates for another 2 one-year terms. This will be an estimated total 5-year cost not to exceed $176,371.69, which the administration finds to be the most cost-effective solution among the quotes received by the library. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Library Trustees hereby authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to negotiate and execute an agreement with Canon for the purchase of production printer equipment and a maintenance plan for the graphics department for a total cost not to exceed $178,000, with $68,000 being charged to the general fund 116-20055-55520 equipment, and a total amount not to exceed $110,000 for annual maintenance over a 5-year term to general fund 116-20053-53350 machine maintenance, which agreement shall be subject to the approval of the Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And exhibit.
Well, let me introduce you to Melissa.
Okay.
Melissa is
Russ, I
going
didn't
to.
mean to cut you off.
I had to go out to all the vendors, and I'm here if you guys have any questions about the printers. Does anybody have any questions?
Are you satisfied that you're getting?
I'm satisfied, yes.
Good.
I actually went and demoed them, and the quality is amazing. I'm happy with, fingers crossed, is what they promised with their service, everything, supplies. I'm very happy, so.
And in terms of improved capacity,
Yes. Oh my
productivity
goodness.
for you?
Ask the branch managers about the quality, what we've been pumping out. Yeah, it has not been up to par. And it's really not all's fault. The machine that we had, you could call it like a high-end office printer. We definitely need more production printer. You'll get better quality, faster, everything. So yeah, longer lasting. Canon, they have told me umpteen times that if we get a lemon, they will replace it free of charge. So I'm very happy, so.
Great.
Thank you for the research.
That's great. And
Thank you.
this is a good time to recognize the sort of unsung service that the graphics department has done for all the library, for all the time I've been on the board. And
Trust me, branch managers, I don't like to send out bad quality. It's embarrassing, but you work with what you got, but get it out, get it out, get it out. Okay.
Need a flyer.
well, thank
Hopefully
you.
going forward, it's gonna look great.
That's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Pass the word to the staff too, because we know it's not a one-person job. Thanks. Exhibit 4 is a resolution to accept grant funds from the Child Care Resource Center of Cuyahoga County Incorporated doing business as Starting Point for MyCom out-of-school time transitions programs. Whereas the Child Care Resource Center of Cuyahoga County doing business as Starting Point and the Library have formed a partnership for the provision of out-of-school time transition services, whereas Starting Point invited the library to apply for support for out-of-school time and youth transitions for youths 5 to 18, and whereas planning is underway to provide transitional programs from youth in the city of Cleveland for the 2024 calendar year, January 1 through December 31, and whereas Starting Point will reimburse the library in total amount not to exceed $62,986.55 for transitional programs for youths. Now therefore be it resolved that the board, pursuant to the authority set forth in RC 337540K, hereby accepts a grant from the Child Care Resource Center of Cuyahoga County doing business as Starting Point in the amount of $62,986.55. Be it further resolved, the executive director, CEO, or his designee is authorized to enter into and execute such agreements and instruments as may be necessary or appropriate to effectuate the terms and conditions of this resolution, which agreements and instruments shall be subject to the approval of the library's Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
And Carrie, is this an increase over what we have gotten in the past?
No, actually, it was $75,000 in the past few years.
Okay.
And
so-
I don't know the difference of why it was decreased. Maybe Shanice.
No, I don't know why it was decreased, but yeah, 75,000 had been in the past. This year
Yeah.
is 62,000.
So what does the
yes.
difference in amount mean to what we're doing in the program?
Yeah, I have Jacqueline and Erica here. Can speak.
Well, I can speak a little bit to why there is a lessening in being hearing from them as they were giving out these funds. They were speaking to the fact that they had a lot more folks reaching out to them for funding, especially from the city and from the school district, considering school district has had to cut a lot of their out-of-school time funds due to their current situation. So they just had more, but they really like what we're doing. That's why they tried to keep us as close to what we were receiving as possible.
And this, Jackie, this stuff coordinates with what you're doing in terms of the summer programming as well.
So this will coordinate with Young Scholars Academy. So
Okay.
that's how Young Scholars Academy, which I presented on, is funded. It
Okay.
would also support a music program that Ops is going to do with some, I think the South Branch and Woodland, yep. And then we're also gonna use some of the funding to have a big kindergarten readiness day for the entire city. I reached out to CMSD, they want to be a part of it. And then we'll also reach out to other schools and providers. And we'll have a big day to help families prepare and have workshops. It's gonna be more of a capacity building space where we will have workshops for them to learn more about ways that they can support their children at home. So that's what we hope to do with this funding.
That's great.
It might be an opportunity to reach out to the Catholic charter schools.
Yes, it's definitely.
What an idea.
I cannot forget my boss. So,
Ms. Bunce?
Yes.
Ms. Shakari?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Exhibit 5 is a resolution to advance cash from the general fund to the MyCom fund, whereas the Ohio Revised Code 5705 5705.14 provides for transfer and advance of funds from the general fund to other funds. And whereas libraries generally do not follow the section 5705 for budgetary compliance, so the library looks to the Auditor State Bulletin 1997-003 to provide guidance pertaining to the accounting treatment for interfund cash advances. Whereas at this board's meeting, the board considering accepting grants from the Child Care Resource Center of Cuyahoga County doing business, the starting point for MyCom out-of-school time transition programs, the immediate prior resolution we've been talking about. Starting point, we reimburse the library on a monthly basis in a total amount not to exceed $62,986.55. Whereas a cash advance from the library's general fund to the MyCom fund is a desirable method of resolving cash flow problems without the necessity of incurring additional interest expense for short-term loans, and to provide the necessary seed for grants that are allocated on a reimbursement basis. Now therefore be resolved upon adoption of the resolution to accept grant funds from Child Care Resource Center of Cuyahoga County doing business. Starting point, this board also authorizes the general fund advance cash in the amount of $62,986.55 to the MyCom fund for the same purposes for which the funds were established, for which repayment in equal amount is made within a year or until all requests for reimbursements have been received. So moved.
Second.
This is the obvious housekeeping follow-up to the prior resolution. You can call the roll.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Exhibit 6 is the third amendment to the year 2024 appropriation, whereas the Ohio Revised Code 5705.40 provides for the amendment of an appropriation measure when necessary, and whereas it's now deemed necessary to amend the year 2024 appropriation measure, which complies with the amended official certificate of estimated resources received from the Board of the County Budget Commission dated March 14, 2024, whereas the aggregate of all appropriation classifications does not exceed the total amount submitted to the Budget Commission. Now therefore it be resolved that the sums indicated on the attached third amendment to the year 2024 appropriation schedule be approved. So moved.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the new one is just the same grant we talked about, or is there some other additions?
Yeah, so we're appropriating the MyCom, the starting point grant in the MyCom Special Revenue Fund, and then we're also decreasing in our Building and Repair Fund the appropriation for the Rycon construction, ratifying the agreement for the decrease in that we originally appropriated for the main library
The
staff
savings that
break.
were John
Yes.
reflected on. That's great.
So we decreased that.
Great, thank you. And Exhibit 6 was the last voted on resolution. The balance of the Finance Committee report is the Fiscal Officer's Report, Report A, Report on Investments, Report B, Report on Conference and Travel Expenditures, Report C, Report on all vendor expenditures, Report D, Report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency fund for the various branches in Phase 1. Report F, the report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency fund for the high-density shelving project, Report F. Those are in the record and for review. They're all for the month of February, I think, right? And that concludes the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Trustee Corrigan. We're now going to move into the Human Resource Committee report. Trustee Shakarian?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I present Exhibit 7, our regular employment report, detailing the new hires, transfers, resignations, terminations, and retirements and compensation changes. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And if I can ask a question, the Arts and Culture Manager is in what chain of command here? I'm always curious.
Which one?
The new, the Arts and Culture Manager that reports through.
To Tiffany.
Okay. Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure. And where's Marissa from before? Where was Marissa before here?
She was actually one of our docents.
Okay.
She was working with the Morgan Conservancy and then did some consulting work for the National Museum and the Kent State Gallery.
Great.
And previously, she was in Colorado.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's the one
Thank you for your contribution to our publicity with all the flower videos going around the world.
Such an honor.
And Exhibit 8 is a retirement recognition citation. A citation has been issued for the following staff members on the occasion of their retirement. Stephen Harris, 25 years of service, Safety and Protection Officer, retiring as of February 10th, 2024. And Stephen Rush, 12 years of service as a custodial supervisor in property management, retiring February 23rd, 2024. Be it resolved that the citation for the above staff members be presented by the Board of Trustees in appreciation for his faithful and dedicated service given to the library by him be recorded in the minutes of this meeting, and be it further resolved that the citation be sent to them forthwith if they are not present at this meeting of the Board of Trustees. Just to correct the record with the grammar changes for this particular citation, but so moved.
Second.
Ms. Bunt,
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian,
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan.
Yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Are either here today? Oh, we send them our hearty congratulations with this resolution. And that concludes the Human Resources report.
Thank you, Trustee Shakarian. The Community Service Report, Trustee Parker is unavailable today. Trustee Botts, I know it's last minute. Are you able to review that, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Yes, of course, our monthly activity report, we love these graphs that explain so easily what the circulation and trends and all are comparing in different branches, and the circulation is always interesting to me. So we appreciate how you do it for us, how you present it for us. Monthly activity report here, and then, whoops. So I guess maybe we need building status update from John Moore?
Thanks. I've got, I'll provide these, Michael, after the meeting. On the facilities master plan side, thanks to everyone who was able to join us for the grand opening of the Brooklyn branch back on March 2nd. I think that's a great example of one of our smaller buildings, but in kind of embodying all of the design characteristics we're trying to embed in the FMP project. So a flexible space, community gathering areas, nice, bright, attractive children's areas. So very pleased with the Brooklyn opening. Rockport is tentatively scheduled for June 22nd, although we haven't quite locked that in because we're waiting for some.
June 22nd?
Yes, ma'am. Although we haven't quite locked it in while we're waiting for final dates on the furniture and shelf deliveries. And then it was nice to see Trustee Shakarian on other business in the county council chambers earlier this week. Our partners on the Waltz project, that's Northwest Neighborhoods Community Development, had $2 million county ARPA money. That was $500,000 discretionary from Councilperson Sweeney, plus $1.5 million combined from the Greater Council. So they are very close to having closed their financing gap for the Karam Senior Living part of the Waltz Branch project. Still some wickets to get through, but I've got a renewed optimism.
How close are they?
They said they're within $500,000, and that's on an over $21 million project. So they're more than 95% of the way there. And to the point where they're comfortable starting recommencing the planning meetings between the CDC and the library. So I'm hoping for a summer groundbreaking, which would be a 2025 opening.
He did a wonderful presentation at the meeting.
What did he say?
He did a wonderful presentation
Yes.
to me, and there were so many people there to support that. Yeah.
Thank you.
And for those who haven't seen the Brooklyn branch, that is one of the classic Carnegie branches that wasn't huge, not like
Carnegie
full
West,
Carnegie West or those, but we've maintained just amazing craft brickwork on the outside. We had previously done the windows, but if you haven't been there in a while, and if you remember what it was like before the changes, the whole space is opened up and so much brighter. It is literally almost a dramatic transition from what it was. It was always a good little branch, but at this point, I think you're going to see a real growth just because of how much more inviting the space is. And if you haven't seen it, it's worth stopping in. And I commended everybody associated with the team for the way it turned out. It really was amazing. So.
Thank you, sir. And then on the non-FMP side, just to provide a brief update on some of the projects that you've heard about previously, the Union Branch HVAC unit replacement is actually happening right now. The crane's on site this morning. The LSW lower level restroom refresh and the LSW roof replacement design projects are moving forward. They're both through schematics. So hope to be bidding late 2024 on those projects. Likewise, the main fire system sensor replacement. You approved the selection of our criteria engineer partner last month, and we'll be bringing the full scope and fees to board next month. And then finally, we're working with an architect on a proposal for a Tech Central 2.0 refresh on the lower level of LSW. And depending on where the value of that contract is, we'll be bringing it to board soon as well.
And how far are Michael, is Michael here? I didn't see Michael, but where are we in terms of the high density shelving? That's almost ready.
Just said, I think you're okay to leave, so.
Okay. But it's where we're about 70% at this point?
I think so. He was probably coming down to the decimal, but I think we are.
Okay.
There might be questions there.
I'm sure he'll pop in later.
Okay.
How was the new Tech Central received? What is it? How was that? I know we went to the opening.
The opening's
but
going really well.
How
And
has
so,
traffic?
Mr. Malcolm, you want to come up to this?
Oh,
Get a very brief,
What's the foot traffic like?
because
yes,
John,
that's the question.
when John starts talking about 525, we may not
I'll
ever.
try to be brief. 525, we actually just started daily service this week on Monday. And this is a great collaborative effort amongst multiple departments here in CPL, including youth services, including ops, and Tech Central, and of course, IT. We're doing this in a very soft approach. What we're trying to do is learn from the teams who are showing, and they're doubling up each day, what they want, what they're looking for, what they're trying to get out of what we can offer them. So over the next 3 weeks or so, we're going to figure that out as we do their full-on programming. One of the things that's different from 470, that was our previous studio, we are going to open throughout the summer. So we want to be able to be prepared with things that are going to expose our youth, to give them insights and enlighten them and open their mind to what's available. So with all that being said, we're moving in as planned.
Great, exciting.
And just share the.
There you go.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So Director, and I'm so sorry. So the other question on that, the other side of that coin is, is the new bookstore up and running?
No, the new bookstore is not up yet.
Okay.
And then I just had one final thing for John, if I could ask, and that is usually March is the time we start figuring out how bad the winter, this was a much different winter, but how bad the winter was on the Eastman Garden and how things look there and what.
Yeah, we've had some discussion on that recently, actually. Did some tree pruning to try to get some more sunlight through the canopy. And so our contract for the beds maintenance will kick up probably next month.
Okay.
Nice.
We haven't turned the fountain back on, so that is always a.
No, we gotta wait till the freeze is done there.
Right.
But it looks like the stonework and everything didn't suffer any particular problems.
Not that I've noticed. I don't know that our, analysis is more in depth than Oliver Reyes and I walking through and observing.
Is this the first winter we've ever left it open all winter?
It's been a couple years at the.
Yes, I like that.
I loved it, but I was so surprised.
There
I
was,
still see people out there.
Yeah, and there's, on the nice warm days.
Yeah, so nice.
Well, not only that, the reality is that downtown has fewer people in it. And the reason is that in Cleveland winters, it's not as hospitable downtown. And just saving a half block of walking through is just good PR for us, for people to realize to save that half block is worth it. And particularly with the hotels being more full than they've been in the past and those sort of things, it really is worth doing. And I appreciate it's more work for your staff, John, but I think it's really worth doing. And I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
So maybe Shanice has some report on advocacy or also foundation update for us?
I do.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. As it relates to the annual goals this week, this year for advocacy, which really continue to focus on informing our elected officials about our community initiatives and identifying viable resources that align with our strategic plan for the organization. So in that vein, we are preparing for OLC Legislative Day. I know, I'm so sad. But I hope some of you are able to come down in Columbus with us as we advocate for public libraries across the state. It's not a operating budget year, it's a capital budget year. We did not put in anything for the House, but we are looking to put in something for the Senate for the one-time strategic community investment fund, as OLC wants us to do that because we want to elevate the notion of libraries need help with facilities as well. We're appreciative of the funding that we get otherwise, but we do want them to know that we also have needs in those areas. And so we will be putting something forth for that. As it relates to, and Library Legislative Day is on April 24th of next month. Also, with the primary the primary that just took place this week, 5 out of 7 public library levies on the ballot today, this week passed across the state of Ohio. I talked about the one-time strategic community investment, and I think it's also important to note, Director Thomas has given John Lane and I the task to do some community engagement with the Huff neighborhood on the former Huff branch. We're going to triangulate the data with the community, obviously being a number one audience that we want to hear from. We'll look to work with Third Space Action Lab on the community engagement efforts, but really focusing in on Legislative Day, preparing for the one-time strategic community investment, and leveraging Third Space to get some good data from our community on the former Huff branch is what we've been doing as it relates to advocacy. As it relates to, would you like me to continue on the foundation?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Absolutely. As it relates to the foundation, their work, is really gearing up for Library Giving Day. So we're super excited about that. And it's a purely social campaign. So we shared a toolkit with the foundation board for them to amplify the message, and we gave them talking points. And if you're amenable, we can share it with your board, with the board here, a toolkit. We would be so grateful if you would just post your library story and share it with your networks. Larice from the foundation board charged the board to, number one, do a match of up to $10,000 for this work. And from their personal contributions, in addition to raising with their networks, another $250 throughout their networks to share the message. I will say that Melanie Townsend, who's our new staff person, has been on fire. She has influencers who are going to be sharing Library Giving Day. This is kind of the first year that we're doing this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cleveland Vibes, but it's on Instagram, and it highlights everything wonderful in Cleveland. They're going to be promoting it on their website. They have like thousands of followers. And really that's the key. How do we amplify the message socially? So we're super excited about that. And we also have launched our annual sponsorship for the foundation, which really is operating fundraising for them. And it allows the foundation to do more for the library. So Director Thomas and I, we had some really good meetings with some funders, and the dollars are coming, starting to roll in. We also have set the date for the annual foundation fundraiser. It's going to be on October 25th. You'll get an official save the date, but that's really it for us.
Thank you. That is lots of information. Very nice to know all that.
Thank you.
So do we have anything on diversity, equity, and inclusion to report?
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I am pleased to report that the DEI department finalized training plans for new employee orientation and onboarding new staff. On Thursday, March 14th, the department held its first DEI training for all new hires during new employee orientation. The training consists of a highlight of CPL's employee resource groups and employee engagement opportunities, an overview of CPL's supplier diversity policy and practices, an introduction to bias and unconscious bias, and why it's important for CPL to be the center for a diverse, inclusive community. This is just one component of the DI department's efforts to create ongoing comprehensive training centered around diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging. The department has partnered with Human Resources to provide more in-depth mandatory training on unconscious bias for all staff this year, reinforcing the importance to build awareness and cultivate understanding around this very important topic. Supplemental to the efforts, CPL's ERG will continue to provide a variety of internal DEI-inspired lunch and learn sessions, which will be optional for staff throughout the year via Teams with on-demand recordings enabling staff to watch as their schedules will permit. We will use this framework to provide all CPL staff with consistent DEI trainings each year. So that will be one new employee orientation for all new staff, and at least one mandatory DEI training partnered with HR each year. Supplemental lunch and learn sessions will be optional and will be supported by our employee resource groups. So next Monday, I will encourage all staff to participate in ERG-sponsored by our cultural ERG lunch and learn session. We have guest presenter Grace Blatt. Blatt is entitled Graced by Grace in honor of Developmental Disability Awareness Month. Grace is a self-advocate and promotes the acceptance of people on the autism spectrum and all people with developmental disabilities. It's scheduled to start Monday, 12 p.m. via Teams.
Interesting, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes the community services report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. There is no old business and a new business. We have the resolution for Trustee Harrison. And we also have a resolution authorizing the Cleveland Public Library to explore options for collaborating with the City of Cleveland for improvements to the Harvard Lee branch. Whereas the City of Cleveland is preparing to issue a request for proposals for the redevelopment of the former JFK High School, which is now vacant and is located next door to the Harvard Lee branch. And whereas the library and the city have been in formal discussions since March 2023 about the library's plan for the future of the Harvard Lee branch and the city's plan for both the former high school site and the neighborhood at large, which Mayor Bibb has identified as a priority for the city. And whereas the library requests authority to explore issues relating to a collaboration with the City of Cleveland regarding the redevelopment of the site of the former JFK High School and potential options for the future of the Harvard Lee branch, which could include, without limitation, a joint venture to redevelop both properties or an architectural collaboration to make meaningful improvements to the community through repairs and renovations to the existing branch. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library hereby authorizes the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee, the Chief Operations Officer, and the Director of Legal Affairs to explore the issues and options related to collaborating with the City of Cleveland for improvements to or redevelopment of the Harvard Lee branch. Please, Josh, share with us.
Let's hear.
Well, I do want to thank Dr. Johnson Thomas. Shanice was able to attend the community engagement efforts on this project, as well as being engaged with the mayor's office on the Southeast Side Development Initiative. So as a reminder, the facilities master plan from 2019 recommended a new library for Harvard Lee at a site to be determined. We've reconnected with our planning partner as we're refreshing the Group 2 planning. They indicated the hope at the time was that something would happen on the JFK site. So this might be fortuitous timing. So the city, as indicated in the resolution, is issuing a request for proposal for a redevelopment of the entire site. They have carved out in their conceptual design what they're calling public sector space, but which they're hoping the library will choose to go in on. So this doesn't bind us to anything other than making more official the communications which were already ongoing as we explore this. And if this is approved, then we will give the city approval to stipulate Cleveland Public Library within the language of the RFP.
What's the years of the two buildings?
Yeah.
Harvard Lee, 1980-ish.
It's
And
older.
JFK
It's
is,
older.
Oh, JFK is
was-
much older.
JFK
I'm
was-
just trying to see,
Yeah,
you know.
JFK was, I think, opened in 65 or 66.
Oh, okay.
There was going to be a school built there, and then John F. Kennedy was shot, and that's how it got named John F. Kennedy. But I think that it was part of, is a branch manager here, maybe
Yeah,
can give us
Kristen.
specifics? Yeah, do you remember?
The Harvard Lee branch was built in 79 and opened in 1980.
Okay. And the high school had been there for a decade anyway, yeah. But tell me something, that's a part of the city where the population has declined quite a bit in the city. And I'm just trying to go back 15 years. Circulation at that branch used to be higher than it is these days.
We're actually doing really well with circulation and attendance. It's increased each of the last 3 years.
No, I know in terms of, there was a real dip and now it's come back, but I'm saying compared to when the branch opened in 79 or 80, there's been a significant change. That's part of the city where the population has declined the most, I think.
Yeah, but it's still very dense.
Oh, it is dense, yeah.
And-
Okay, I just want to, because I think the question is, for phase two, is that become a sub-regional type of branch? Is that the kind of plan we're thinking?
A community hub, I think, is what the FMP recommended, and the budgeting, the 2019 budgeting was for a new building with the site on.
Okay.
And to be clear, the city's RFP is predominantly multifamily housing. The library would be a comparatively small portion of the overall site.
Of the campus, because the campus is much bigger than we need.
Yes, sir.
What's the parking situation at the existing Harvard Lee? Are we pretty well decent parking, or is it a problem?
We have 5 public spaces.
That's what I thought.
On our property, and then the rest of it is the shopping plaza. And we
Okay.
are really landlocked, so there's no green space. We have just the sidewalk on both sides of the building and no room to really expand other than if we were to go up.
All right, and do we have complaints about parking, or is the shopping area enough to?
People use
The shopping
area, okay, I'm just, in terms of what do we need to do in terms of parking on a new building? I mean, I think we have to think about that as well.
Which would be one of the potential, of course, this is very preliminary, but it'd be one of the potential advantages of moving into an RFP with part of a larger is shared parking, shared
Right.
infrastructure, shared green spaces, potentially some cost savings reflected back to the library. So that those all could make this attractive to us.
And there's still a CMST school that's close by though, right? Not the high school. What's the CMST school that's still open there?
K through 8 is about a half mile on the same side, past where JFK was.
Okay, so that's why
So do you have any-
isn't it as long as half a mile? I didn't think it was that far.
Yeah.
You're just guessing, okay.
But yeah, they walk, the kids walk down the whole line.
Yeah,
Do
okay.
you have any idea, any of you, the percentage of homeowners in that neighborhood? I remember when my husband was their state senator, it was considered, a really strong middle-class neighborhood and everything.
I think Ward 1 still is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were our #1 voting block in the city of Cleveland
Uh-huh.
in 2017 for the levy. They were the
Yeah.
highest in
I
support.
was just wondering percentage of homeowners. Always curious.
Yeah, it's just there aren't as many kids as there used to be. Is the
True, that's an
big
aging
change. That's,
population.
that's true in West Park as well.
Yeah.
So, right. So, I always think of Ward 1 in West Park, whatever ward number it has at any given time, as the highest density voting areas in the city. Those are the two biggest turnouts. So,
I wanted to note that there's a celebration on April 11th at this branch. If anybody is interested, it's honoring 10 years of the Crafty Ladies.
oh, sure.
Honoring over 400 objects every year that they donate to keep Cleveland warm. Cleveland Institute of Music is going to be doing a performance. They made an Afghan that the library's carpentry team framed and is hung on the wall. And Kristen has such an amazing relationship with them, and they're just such a big part of the community. So if anybody's curious about the branch, that would be a great time to come and see it.
Yeah.
5 PM on April 11th.
5 p.m.
April 11th.
Okay,
Thank you.
Wow, sounds interesting.
that's great.
We'll send something out.
Thank
It's
you.
quite fortuitous that Kristen Smith was here today.
Yeah, I
Couldn't
just-
tell that she would like a new branch or anything. Don't push it. Yeah, all right.
Thank you.
And the second,
Second,
Ms. Bunce?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes. We did receive a public comment, which we will include in our minutes. It was sent from Terrence Miter, and it was regarding the recruiting, spending, and retention. We will go ahead and
No.
put this, and go ahead.
We need to read it.
Oh, okay, well, I guess we're gonna be reading the whole thing in its entirety. As a taxpayer in the city of Cleveland, I expect that public institutions spend money wisely and are the types of employers that hire and retain qualified employees in order to effectively and efficiently perform their mission. This board authorized tens of thousands of dollars of expenditures on IT technology recruiting with Robert Half International and subsequently hired IT personnel. Multiple individuals who were hired following this significant expenditure are no longer employed by the library. I hope that current and future board members reflect on whether this money has been spent wisely and take more seriously their duty to be responsible stewards of a public good on multiple levels. As a highly quality employer that can attract and retain a talented workforce, and as a beloved, longstanding institution with a substantial reputation to uphold, I look forward to the addition of a new board member and expect that they will bring a fresh perspective and a selfless commitment to their duties. Respectfully, Terry Metter. It will be included in the minutes as well. There's no other additions on, I move for adjourn.
Second,
Ms. Bunce?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
yes.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes. I did, because the last ones we just submitted.